Let's talk about your version control system and how we might structure it with our database code. Now, in many environments, somebody already has a repository in place for their application code, their C#, their Java, their web code, whatever it is. And often we want to then begin storing our database code. We have to make some decisions. The main one people ask about is, do I have a shared or a separate repository for my database code? As with many things in DevOps, there is no correct answer. There's no one way to look at this. There's two philosophical differences, and I'll talk a little bit about each one, and then you can decide what works best for your environment. The shared repository is one people often start with because they'll map a database to an application, and it feels natural to put them both in the same repository. When I do this, if I make a commit of code, I can link an application commit with a database commit, put those together, and I try to keep my application in lockstep. There's nothing wrong with this, and if that's your paradigm, that works great. I don't prefer that, and the reason is often I find that once a database connects to an application, I typically have other connections as well. So I prefer to have a separate repository. In this way, the database is a first-class citizen, and it looks just like another application. If I have one application connected to a database, typically I'll have reporting or maybe data extraction or data imports, which really are a separate application, so I want my database separate. This does mean that changes need to be coordinated a little bit between the two repositories, but allows me to kind of keep my database code separate and organized as its own repository and its own set of code. Which choice you make is up to you. Again, DevOps doesn't prescribe to anything. Just make a choice that works well for your particular project and your organization.